What is up? What's up? What's up? Happy Sunday morning, everybody. Matt Vrzal here, Husker Hangover, joining you after a great half of football by Nebraska, and then it was a miserable half, but it was just a better team. Did what they wanted to do to you and scored 17, and you scored 0, and you lost 34-3. To the number 3 team in the country, the Michigan Wolverines. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on Husker Hangover. My big takeaways from the game. It was as expected. People were worried, and they're going to run this thing up, and they're going to score 100, and blah 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 blah. Harbaugh's not that guy. Harbaugh's an old school guy. He's going to run it, and then when he gets up to what he feels is a comfortable lead, he's going to run basic plays and have you try to stop basic plays. And if you can stop basic plays, then you will not get the score run up on you. If you cannot stop basic plays, they will continue to attempt to score points because that's what they're built to do. It's the age-old concept. If you don't like it, stop it. If you can't stop it, then you're going to have to deal with it. So, yeah, it was kind of as I expected the game to go. If you want a pattern of behavior or mirror something that you hope Nebraska can become, if you watch when Nebraska is on offense, okay, Michigan's defense, they're able to absorb / jar the block that is with them, and then they are able to come off of said block and make the play in a backwards or a lateral motion, meaning they're going to drive the back or they're going to hit the back sideways. You flip it around and you watch Nebraska go at it. They were catching a block, and then they're reaching to get off of it late to try to make the play, and then we're being run over and carried for multiple yards. It's a downhill version of football against an on your heels kind of form of football on the defensive side. Okay? Offensively, you saw everything Michigan did as they went at it, try to finish, right? Every block they had was in a forward push. It seemed that every block Nebraska had was in a stalemate. Okay? If you look at the athleticism of the Lions and what they were able to do, just throw Corum out the window because that guy is a freak, but he's a freak that's on their team. So that's unfortunate for teams to have to play him. Everything they do is going downhill. There's very little lateral movement to it. The lateral movement does not come until it's an absolute necessity. For parents that were watching with young people, young running backs, if you're a young running back and you want to differentiate yourself from the herd, run like Corum. Run like Corum. You don't need to make 47 moves in the backfield. You need to get the ball and go downhill. And then let your linemen start to shove behind you and then just watch the pile move. Nebraska never really had a chance to get Anthony Grant going in the game. I didn't feel. Like I said, you would see things. You would see a hole. Things would look good for Nebraska's offense. And then out of nowhere, somebody would get off a block and make a play. There was no finish in what they were doing. The 1 or 2 times Nebraska did get down in the red zone, probably needed to have a little better finish, settling for field goal. Not going to do it in that game. Had to get more out of it than they did. And the measuring stick, there's a distance. Like there's space in between that. If you remember now, a couple years back, Harbaugh was on the edge of they were wanting to get rid of him because it wasn't working and they were still losing to Ohio State. I think that year they lost to Michigan State, and everybody was pissed. Everybody was mad. But perseveres, goes through everything, and is able to get them to where they're at now, where the Big Ten has an outside chance to get a couple into the CFP. Probably not going to happen, but You never know. Outside of an early blown coverage in the game, I think it was Buford, number one on a tight end that kind of got a shake put on him. I thought Nebraska's secondary played well. Not that Michigan is a passing juggernaut, but I thought they did a really nice job of playing aggressive defense and making the throw that McNamara had to make be perfect. That was something that I really enjoyed out. And then the other touchdown they had were number 8 was wide open. They were running a blitz, and you had a selfish play get made where the blitz. It's good play design by Michigan, right? Nebraska's going to run a blitz with safety. The other safety and the corner have to communicate. The other safety just wasn't where he's supposed to be. I mean, he was that's day one, like little guy stuff. Like corner had another receiver that he had to take care of. Safety has to take the blitzer's man. And he didn't. He was looking off into nowhere. So that was frustrating. Things that pissed me off in the game, for whatever reason, cold, wet, muggy, really good guy across from you. We got Hicks struggled with snaps in that game. Can't be doing that. Can't be having an issue with snap in the game. Things I hope Nebraska takes away in that game. And again, I'm happy he's not injured terribly, but probably time to put Whipple up in the box. Maybe he sees the game a little better up there. You relay the calls down to someone. And number 2, guy that was standing next to him on the sideline, like when you see all the action coming to you and you have the oldest guy on staff next to you, maybe just hop in the way. Like maybe hop in the way. I mean, Whipple's old. And I know I got after him last week. I have no problem with that. I don't want him to get hurt during the game. But all you did was grab his arm. Like you saw the whole freaking thing come at you, dude. Like get in the way. Guy's 175 years old. You let him take shots. Breakdown of the game is very, very telling. Nebraska had 8 first downs in the game. Not going to work. Rushing, they had 75 yards. Passing, they had 71. So a balanced attack for 146. 146 in the game. Can't live that way. Got to find something offensively that's going to work for you where that you can get things. It's difficult to say because I don't know if they're better. Like I don't know what better is. And this is why last week against Minnesota pissed me off so much. It's because you can't let games slip away. You can't let games that you have under control. Because you're going into a juggernaut. You're going into something that everything and then some is going to have to go right for you to win that game. Everything. And it didn't. You got it handed to you by a more physical, by a more disciplined. What you're looking at there at Michigan is Harbaugh's tenure of discipline finally taking over. For me, I love it. It's the most refreshing thing in college football to me, and I hope they go to the CFP, and I hope they beat everybody because now the transition back to physical football starts. Now the transition back because they just want to line up and smack. Now it gets back into what I think this should be instead of this 7-on-7 passing league bullshit. Now we get back to playing, and we get back to hitting, we get back to doing things. Oh, you guys are firing questions. Happy morning to everybody. Mike says, thinking about how to maximize the rate of recruiting. How does the walk-on program get reestablished and become a critical pillar of the overall program structure again? I don't think it does, Mike. I'll be honest with you. I don't think it does. for this reason. Kids now don't have to wait for you. Okay? Kids can go to Division II school and say they go to Division II school and they tear it up. Like they're doing great. They're doing what it has to be done to play there. They can then transfer. They can portal in. Your D2s, your NAIAs, like if you go there and you succeed and you do well, they'd become really higher education JUCOs. It's not the life of a JUCO, but it's a you go and get a better academic experience without quite the rough and nasty method to it, but you can leave then. I do think Nebraska really needs to wake up on quite a bit of things and realize that you can get these kids to come in to play at your school in that developmental manner, in that developmental setup. That's got to be the mindset. Okay. You can sell a vision, and the vision was sold over many, many years. Hey, we're going to have you walk on for 2 years. We're going to pay for 3. We're going to have you walk on for 1. We'll pay for 4. That happened to a teammate of mine. He made Coach Osborne sign a contract that said as much, which I thought was awesome. But that can happen, right? That's a deal. You cannot neglect the area. You can't. It's been neglected for far too long. You have to have a path, though, and you have to have somebody with a keen eye to watch what is happening in the state for football. You're going to have some that are very raw, and you have to figure out what you have to do for them and with them to make them a viable part of your team sooner than later. Very rarely, you have some, there's probably some freaks that are ready-made. Quarterback in Gretna is probably ready-made. You can bring him in, and he could be your starter the next day. Sledge would probably be the closest lineman that would be ready to go, just because he's more athletic than most that they have up there. But yeah, that radius, now you're going to have problems in that radius because your radius now includes Lance Leipold, who's kind of getting things turned around and building momentum and building energy. Does the 500, I don't know how far Manhattan, Kansas is anymore. Does that include Kansas State? Because now you're getting crowded in your radius, is what I'm saying. Because you've neglected it for so long. People have come in and taken from it. People come in and take it from your own state. But you've chosen not to pay attention. You've chosen not to do that. So now you have to reestablish that and make sure the kids for sure in state, in the borders, your top priority to them. That's going to be one of the key legs on how this gets rebuilt, however it gets rebuilt. Patrick said, should Trev make the announcement sooner than later? I don't know what the announcement is. We're everybody now from prime time to Mickey to, listen, we'll just end this now. Deion Sanders ain't coming. That ain't happening, Captain. You can hope with one hand and take a shit in the other and see what fills up first, but that ain't happening. That one ain't going down. I'll tell you. I don't think it matters. I think you have to finish out the string with Mickey, unless that's the announcement that Mickey is the guy. Then you could probably do it, but you want to. I don't know what it's going to benefit you doing it now. Your recruiting class stayed intact and is actually adding members, which to me is a baffling thing. I don't know who is pulling that off, but that's impressive. I don't know what you're selling, because if you were saying, hey, I'm going to be the next head coach, well, then them kids ain't keeping that secret. Those kids are never going to keep that secret. Lawyer Kellyanne's up this morning. This morning feels too familiar. Thanks for putting a critical eye on the Huskers today. Not much. I mean, in this game, I don't know if you thought this was going to go different. Let me know. Let me know. I was really, and I know 17-3, they kicked a late field goal. They kicked a late field goal. Yeah, they did. They kicked a late field goal to go into half. The first half of football, to me, for Nebraska was very impressive. It was a bit of a slugfest. The defense was able to get off of the field. The offense was able to, I think the majority of their first downs came in said first half, all 8 of them. But again, it's that confidence, it's that swag. I don't know what happened to Chuba. That slide was awkward. Hope he's okay. Same breath, though, if he's not okay, I'm intrigued to see what a full week of 1 rep practice for Logan Smothers looks like. That is the shirt I wore today. I switched it up. We're going on to next week. Just do simple better. Do the simple things better. Execute better. You're going into 2 teams that both they and their fan bases love curb stomping you. For you 5th and 6th year seniors, this is it. Like you're on the last 2. This will be your last home game. Me personally, after like little Jimmy Leonard's comments on us getting rid of the prior regime and then them firing a coach that had a far better record so he could be the next interim, like, mind your business, bud. But yeah, now you can take things away from this Michigan game, okay? Secondary, when you play in a disciplined manner, you are very good. When you play undisciplined, you are embarrassingly bad. Guys wide open running with no one, like nobody. But again, they played some tight press man coverage, and the yards that they were able to get in that game early in the game were tough yards. Like they head down, getting smacked. I thought Ernest Hausman was probably my highlight of the game. I don't know what changed in the coaching of him or what changed in anything of that. But that dude was out there sticking people. Now, did he still make mistakes? Yes. Was he out of position? Yes, at times. But did he come up and lay the wood to people when he was in the right spot? Yes, he did. You saw flashes of what a really like a true inside linebacker could look like at Nebraska. I don't know what clicked. Whatever clicked with that, continue to do that. Continue to move on that path. Continue to do those things. Because if he can evolve that way, you got a player there. Like you obviously has every physical gift you could want and anything and everything that you could need to play the position physically. It's just a matter of getting it all to translate. Whatever they did, it's translated. Because I thought he looked real good in phases. But coming from where he was before, where I was like, ooh, he's kind of lost out there. None of these reads that he's making are registering with him. None of it. Well, it all registered in that game. He was able to do some stuff. Coming out of the Twitter, not out of the Twitter, I lied. Coming off of a tweet. Lack of depth and development at quarterback and offensive line is 100% on the guy that's apparently worried about his score playing Golden team that can actually do his job. But I believe a competent coach can turn it around quickly. The turnaround in it for Nebraska will go as quickly or as smoothly as whomever takes the lead, right? Because I think if we had one thing unanimously that we could all agree on, we all want Mickey on board. Like I think as a collective state, we know Mickey cannot leave. And I know he's got a 3-year contract, but here's the reality of life. If, and I'm team Mickey as the head coach, if Mickey is not the head coach, okay? If he is not the head coach and somebody comes and says, hey, we really like what you're doing. We really like the way you ran that organization there at Nebraska, inheriting a crazy situation. And now we would like you to come run our organization. And yes, you're correct. We don't have tens of millions of dollars to give you, but I've got fours of millions of dollars to give you. You want to come down here? It's going to be hard to look away from that. It's going to be hard to look away from that. That's reality. Mickey has to stay in some form for this to continue on and make the turnaround as quick as possible. As we said, I think hand in hand with your offensive line development, that strength and conditioning has to change. So what's being done is not working. There are, K-State's probably on just year 3 of climbing. Just got to 7 wins. So, I mean, they are where they are. Kansas has caught, some lightning in a bottle. I don't know if their quarterback is back. He might be. But you've got them now back in the mix, right? That's a quick turnaround. Leipold hasn't been there very long. When you have concrete principle, concrete belief, you can turn things around sooner than later. Is there talent gap? Sure. Addressing that is going to be a big thing. How they overcome that, how they make that go will determine how quick the turnaround happens. I got a scenario for you. Mickey stays as head coach. You say, okay, Mickey, go get an offensive coordinator, $1.5 million. Bill Bush, excuse me. Bill, we're going to keep you here. We're going to pay you $1.25 and you have 2 years to try to get more talent because we really like what you've done with kind of splicing some guys into this. We like your schemes. We like what's happening. We like how that goes. Everybody okay with that? Like, is that a plan? Is that a path? I don't mind that plan. I really don't. I actually, and this would be a shocker to you, I came up with it myself. I really like it. I came up with my own idea, and I think it's a great idea. And I'm just going to throw it out there. That was an awesome idea by me. I think that's just a smooth transition. And you tell them both, you ain't got to keep nobody. You ain't got to keep nobody. If you don't like anybody here, get rid of them. Bring in new, get them here as quick as you can. Let's go. We got to get some juice in here. We got to get something different. Mike says Kalen DeBoer beat number 6 Oregon at Oregon in his first year. Yeah. I don't think that. I think there's the cupboard might have a little better spices. But you are correct. They did win that game. Rob says not Mickey's fault, but this job requires a massive heavy lift and proven lifter. Leipold, Stoops, Campbell, and Rule, if he isn't fat and happy with his millions. Must hire a proven lifter. I don't know. I think what they're probably looking at or how I would maybe alter that as a proven builder. I can lift something one time and I can never lift it again. I don't want anything lifted. I want something built. That is a common, what Rock is talking about, that is a common statement, common sentiment. It's got to be a builder, got to be a builder, got to be a builder. You can find them. DeBoer, when John climbs in here with Mike, says DeBoer's won multiple national championships. It was a lower level, but he knows and trusts his plan. That's the thing. When you get into that mold, that mindset, I think for the first time in quite a while, whomever, Mickey, whomever the head coach is, will know that the AD is a buffer layer between them and the money, them and the suits, them and the regents, them and because that's real. That's something that happens too. That AD is running a lot of interference. That AD is running a lot of different things that have to make the coach's job as almost with blinders on as possible. I don't have to worry about anything. My AD's got that all covered. I'm just here to coach. I'm just here to coach football. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if Deion Sanders? Sometimes during the day, you just think about stuff and makes you laugh. This one always makes me laugh. Deion Sanders coming to Lincoln to be the head coach. I'm all in, by the way. If anybody can pull this off, I am in. I want to see it. I would love to sit back and watch it. I think it would be unbelievable. But I do not think that's going to happen. And I believe he has said as much. Maureen says, if Mickey is head coach, who do you think he would get as OC? Okay. Maureen, that's a good one because I have no name that comes right off the top of my head. I have more of a vision of what I would like that person to execute as far as an offense goes at Nebraska. I don't like I would mirror or I would see how content some guy, not Bill O'Brien, I would see how content some people were at their current position. I would go sniff around, and maybe Leipold is calling the plays at Kansas. I would go sniff around his OC because the things they do are based in a lot of principles that I really like. Quarterback is a viable part of the run game. The offensive line seems to get off the ball very well, and they attack. It's a read system. It's out of the gun. Fine with that, but it doesn't fear. It's not passive. It attacks. Probably not super ideal. There would be no interest, but Michigan's offensive coordinator. I like what they do. If you want to go, which I say these two styles because it fits what I'm closest to. It fits something that I can get to as far as bodies and players very easily. I get your Zach Weger, your Aaron Taylor size linemen that I have access to. They're not going to be the huge monster, but they're going to get after your ass. They don't fit a matrix or a mold. They just play. I can get some elusive running backs from around the surrounding area or even in it. And I have to make sure my brand of football that I'm building offensively looks fun for everybody to play. Okay? Football is fun. Football, when done right and run well, the organization itself is run well, is an absolute blast. When it is not, it is borderline miserable. And as soon as you enter if it's going right or if it's going wrong. You know very quickly what the vibe is. So as best you can, you go and you get everything to be that way. If we can get some, I don't need a whole bunch of flash. I'm play action pass guy. I'm run the ball guy. Whoever fits that, but I would go check with people of their style of offense that I like. Very select phrasing. Hey, offensive coordinator at Kansas. Da 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 da. Can you help me with this? How happy are you here? Da 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 da. If they say, "Hey, I'm good. I like it here. I'm not leaving. I'm riding with Lance." Cool. Do you have anybody else you know of that mirrors your philosophies? Coaches will always help coaches. They always will. So if you get somebody then that says, "Hey, I could go do this or I could go do that. I could make this happen." Now you're kind of expanding out your network and you're expanding out the amount of people that you can talk to in that scenario. Somebody too help me out there in the comments. I don't know. You don't have to have the power 5-star guy. I don't know Quorum's rating, but they were making a big deal about how he showed up there and first guy in, last guy out, that kind of deal. I don't know who John's talking about. John talks in mumbo jumbo sometimes. There's a fairly young redhead that is currently unemployed who people once thought was an offensive genius. How'd you feel about Mickey hiring him? John, stop talking in code. Just put the name on there. It's Sunday morning. We're uneligible for bowl for the 97th year in a row. I don't need. Just hit me. Young redhead. I don't know. But yeah, those are things. Mickey has a black book of people. Mickey has worked at schools. Probably the connections he's made down in Louisiana um, are good. There are people in his network that he can get to that probably have guys picked for him. All right. Got a text here. If Mickey isn't the guy, what does your list look like? I don't. If Mickey isn't the guy, okay. If he's not the guy, I know a few people that run some of the companies that are involved in the search, and I know it's pretty slick actually. I don't tell them I know both of them, but they'll each tell me a piece to the puzzle they got. Um, I would say the guy that you're probably most, I would say in no order. Again, I'm Mickey guy. Don't use my quotes out of line. I'm Team Mickey, but I would say you're probably looking at Leipold, Kleiman, Rule, and Aranda would be who you like if you had a top four. And again, no order, but that would be where I'm probably guessing that's going to go. Your last two guys have Big Ten experience. Um, Rule plays a physical brand of football, and Aranda's probably not as fun for everybody because they got to put to him by K State last night. But then that would lead you then into Kleiman camp. Like I have no problem what Kleiman does. The physicality, that downhill, that smash. That's what I'm doing. Oh, Johnny's back on that redhead. Is that young? He's young. I'm young too. Then I think he's my age. Oh goodness. Jay says that the run game and the short passing game is working. Drives reading the clock, trying to force the long ball. Oh, that was from last week. Sorry. I thought Jay was commenting on what we needed to do offensively. Yeah, I'm in for that. I'm in for ball control, getting your defense some rest, and then if you can bolster this offseason for Nebraska, whomever is the head coach, is going to be a big deal on how that roster gets restructured. Okay. Those that follow a lot more, you can go JUCO defensive linemen, um, which are going to have, they're hit or miss. They can hit and be great, and they can miss and be detrimental. But the thing of it is, with the JUCO, you can say, okay, we missed, you're gone. The portal doors over there, hit it. Linebacking core, you got to build up some more linebackers than that. I mean, secondary, it just seems so thick. There's people everywhere in it. Javen Wright was in the game this week. He didn't crush down quite as well on a couple plays as you would like to see, but again, a freak talent. Toby Wrightson, who's another freak. Like those guys, or maybe you start to re-sculpt in the offseason, and now you go into a Miami mold where you take safeties and they become linebackers. You take corners and they become safeties. And you're taking a human being that's a freak football player and you build them up into what you want them to be. Like you build them into that. That's a Andrew says, I feel we need an update on the coaching search because we need some positive things to happen. I tell you this, Trev and that coaching search, we all from the era, we all live with a certain level of paranoia, and we all live with a very large level of distrust in the general population. So there will be two people that know when the search is over. There will be two people that know. Trev and the guy that signs Trev's check. That's it. So the leaks and the empty airplanes and this guy's coming and all that stuff from before that we've dealt with. Nobody's going to know. That's why it's hard. Like we all just want some information. No one knows. And I love when people come in and with 100% conviction, Vrzal, I got it. I'm like, all right, what do you got? Well, very reliable source told me Mickey signed. Done deal. Like, oh, that's amazing. Who told you that? My brother's buddy. I'm like, oh, okay. Shit. Is your brother's buddy named Trev? No. Is your brother's buddy named Ronnie? No. Okay, then. We can't do this. We cannot do this. We do just want to know. We've got 2 games, okay? Here's the 2 games, okay? If you can't get to this point now, all right? Senior, you've been there for a long time. You got 2 left. Bowl is not in your future. You have 2 bowl games, okay? You have 2 bowl games to shut 2 teams up. 2 teams that rightfully have earned the right to talk to you in a manner that you feel you should not be spoken to, right? Neither one of them are exactly offensive powerhouses. Iowa legend JJ Puck was in last night. I like JJ a lot. JJ makes me laugh. And so we were talking, and he said, he's bitching about the offense. He said they had 140 yards of total offense. I said, well, we had 150. I said, the thing of it is you won. I said, I do think for you guys, you have to factor your defense in for just a score and a touchdown. He said, I agree. I said, they should be part of the offense. Okay. You can go out. I truly believe this. You can go out and win these last 2. So much of it, though, just has to be your attitude. It has to be your disposition. It has to be your belief And more than anything, like, you have to believe in this. You have to believe you can win these last two. You 100% do. Okay? Because you can. I think it's neat that all the players are like, oh yes, this could be the guy. Mickey's the guy. He does this. He does that. Here's the thing with being with adulting, guys. You have to go out and prove it. You can talk about all this stuff and you can say this would be neat and fun, but guess what? At the end of the day, it matters. The column on the left. Did you win or did you lose? You want pressure, guys? You have to go out and win these two. You have to. If you want Mickey Joseph to be your next head coach, you young guys on the team, you have to go win this game. You have to. You cannot fall apart. You cannot get in the red zone and kick field goals. You have to score touchdowns. You cannot jump off sides unexpectedly for no reason at all. You cannot have bad snaps. You can't. You can't drop balls that will convert for first downs. You can't do these things. You can have blown coverages when your partner is going to blitz. You can't. Because Cam, myself, Fred, who has a terrible arm, could make that throw on that touchdown. Are you going to get shaken down on route? Yeah, that's going to happen to everybody. 7-on-7 world they play in, you got 47 moves to catch a 12-yard pass. That's the way it goes. You're going to have that happen. But can you make sure you're not peaking where you shouldn't peak and you're covering who you should cover? Yes. Can you stop jumping offside? Yes. Can you just drive to finish instead of drive to shield? Can you drive to put somebody on the ground? This can be receivers. This can be anybody. Defensive lineman, can your first contact be with your hands and you get extension? And now you're throwing the offensive lineman and you're making plays. If you want Mickey Joseph to be your head coach, you have to win these two games. If you do not win those two games, he's not going to be your coach. I'll just tell you straight up. Gut feeling. You have to win. Period. It should be an electric atmosphere. It's senior day. It's the last home game of the season. This should be your sole focus. Do I care about these old dudes that have been here for 72 years thanks to Corona? And can I go out and play hard for them? Can I go out and make a win for them? If you want Mickey Joseph to be your guy, you have to win this game. You have to. Fred says, Fred's on a heater there. Our friend Fremont Fred has been doing real well. Been doing real well with the Keno. So if you need any money, go out and see Fred. Mike says, for the Mickey critics, one thing I know with a scientific certainty is that we could do much worse than Mickey. That's true. It's very true. One thing with this whole setup and scenario, with there being a little bit of a veil of secrecy with the coaching search, it leads to speculation, of course, but it's a more controlled speculation than it normally is. All these searches before us just running rampant, and maybe I'm off base because we have had a discussion about Deion Sanders being the coach of Nebraska. I think that's more. I think we all realize that is not happening. There's something different about how the program operates with Mickey at the helm. Like I said, there's some. Now it has not gotten over the hump, and as I bitched about last week, I think some of that problem was a coaching problem with the guy calling plays. You don't like the opportunities were few to prove this, and the more I'll talk to just the general, like the lay person, the fan. They're all in on Mickey. the reporter or the media personality, they're the ones that are like, there's no chance. So it's interesting. Had one tell me it doesn't matter that the players like him. It does not matter. Like, kind of matters. Kind of matters a little bit. It cannot be the sole focus that, oh, he's a player's guy. That cannot be it. But then you have the backside of it where you got things that are being done differently, things that are being built with it. I don't know the right answer. Like I don't. Like I said, if he's not involved and he goes somewhere else to coach, you're probably looking at a longer rebuild than you thought because the players that are talented and good are tied to him. And with the portal being there, if he goes somewhere else to coach, I'm not saying he's going to, but if he goes somewhere else to coach, they're probably going to go with him, which is their right now. They can do that. That's why he's staying on is a huge, huge thing for me. I was not. I don't know where everybody else was on this. I could do without Robert Griffin on a call. I did not think. I did not think that was. I didn't get much out of that broadcast. Anything else that impressed you in the game? Whatever Michigan does at halftime, they obviously do halftime right. I think now the stat is 117-3 is the scoring difference. So when Michigan goes into the locker room at halftime, since that point in time, they've given up 3 points. And we're 9 games into this. So 9 games in, they've given up 3 points after halftime. That was impressive. Corum to me, the running back that they have is an interesting thing to me because I think that kid you can find. I think you can find weight room kid, lifts, runs hard. Even their backup number 7 is good. They brought in number 25. I think it's 25 as well. Like they have a stable, right? But again, as Nebraska goes out and tries to evaluate talent and you eliminate all the bullshit that they want to fit into this thing, and you just have a group of guys that are fine-tuned to go find football players. Can I play the game? Does he make the small play? Does he make the big play? He ran through 5-6 tackles, but he got run down from behind. Okay. It's a 60-yard gain. We still have the football. Clock is still rolling. It's a first down. Like you have to get back to the grassroots of recruiting and just finding football guy. Do you eat it? Do you sleep it? Do you drink it? Do you breathe it? Does it consume your everyday? Does it consume what you want to be as a human being? Those kids are out there. Or is it something you do because you're talented? Those are kids out there too. When you have more people in your building, not just on your roster, in your building, that eat it, sleep it, drink it, breathe it, all of it, your building instantly becomes better. It 100% does, because you will create a culture and an atmosphere that people do not become reliant on the coach to coach me into a win. The player and the facility, then they say, I have to do this to make Nebraska win. That could be support staff, that could be trainers, that could be med staff, that could be anybody. The player goes out and says, I have to go learn this and execute this for us to be successful. That's my role. I don't have time for video games. I don't have time to screw around. I don't have time to go get a DUI. I don't have that time because I've got to be in this for us to go. Not everyone in your organization is going to do that. Okay? Unfathomable. But if the vast majority do, game changer. Huge game changer. People want to make a big deal about coaches. Like, oh my gosh, he's there all hours of the day and he slept there for a week. You're not doing it because you want to. You're doing it because it consumes you. You're doing it because, hey, if I don't do this, I could miss something that could cost us the game. It's real. Unfortunately for coaches, your family is sacrifice part of that. But the game has to consume you. I think the game consumes Mickey. I think the game consumes Bush. That's a bad statement. I think the game after that, though, player-wise, Grant is probably in that camp. It's been a little bit tougher for Trey Palmer because his main thrower of the football is not there, and life is a little bit tougher than it once was. Like that's what it is. If you don't think Jim Harbaugh at the last, I saw this, and this isn't necessarily a football thing. Oh, there's something you don't see every day. Some horse racing gates just drove by on Center Street. There's going to be a horse race out there a little bit west of us. Jim Harbaugh had his grandkids race. Again, it was a holiday. It was like a race to see who gets to eat first or something. But everything with him is competition. Now, he's weird. That dude is weird. I get it. But competition consumes him. He wants to be the best. He wants to be great. I got a football question coming here. Caleb says, was Michigan running zone off the edge on us with Corona? Our edge containment commitment is not where we need to be, and when we squeeze, when to contain quorum. Okay, so they were running both concepts. They were running inside zone and outside zone concept. But where they were really getting us, and you watched, the scary part for me is that I watched Wisconsin and Iowa going back and forth and doing that as well. To me, this is a pin-pull scheme. Okay? When they were running the zone stuff, Corum was able to just kind of pick where he wanted to go. All right, so in the pin-pull scheme, you had two linemen pulling, we'll just say from the left side of formation to the right. All right? Where Nebraska faulted on it is there was hesitation on the crush. All right? So two guys on the left pulling to the right to hit the left defensive end. Okay? So the left tackle and guard are pulling to hit the left outside linebacker defensive end, whatever you want to call him. As soon as the guy over me, if I'm the left defensive end, and I can grab the whiteboard real quick too. As soon as he gets any kind of action across his face, he should try to jam that blocker down. And then when he looks inside at the two guys coming at him, he cannot wait anymore. He's got to go meet them and blow that thing up. Okay? There's a minute second of hesitation. Then he went to contact. It's too late. The bigger human being has their momentum coming to get you, and they get smoked. And then the second large human being is going to turn that corner and be up on your linebacker. The third part of this play that probably doesn't get enough credit is that if your center and your other guard, so this would be your center and your right guard, if they are good at getting movement out of the nose guard, okay, and they wash that guy out, now you've created another hole in the defense. So now you can follow the pullers or you can cut back behind that double team. And he had done a nice job of both of it. He had done really well. And he's so patient, right? If you watch it, we did it good. We did well a couple times on this. We jammed this thing up. Big body hits other big body and it stops. And now he's got to wait. And he doesn't have anywhere to go. He just put his hand on the back of the ginormous person. He'd just sit and he'd wait, and then a little crease would open up, and bam, he hit it. He hit it and split it and go. Then linebacker positioning, anytime your heels are equal to or ahead of your butt, you are in trouble. That means you are flat-footed, and I stopped counting at about 47 at the times the linebackers got trucked in that game. Meaning they got hit, Corum ran them over, they're holding on for dear life trying to pull him down. That's, to me, that's more of a pin pull setup in it. You know, that was something. Now, their zone stuff was real good too. Here's why I love zone. I love zone stuff, okay? So everybody's working in pairs. Everybody's working together in pairs. And all we want to do is get lateral motion. And I got to have one of two things happen. I got to have one guy that's over energetic, just takes off, or I got to have one guy that's lazy. So if this backside end, as I point to my computer, this backside defensive end is lazy, and I've got everybody flowing this way, and he ain't, cut, and away we go. Or if I get linebackers that want to just take off and fly as soon as they see any movement, I'm good to go. Now I can cut back right behind you because you can't stop fast enough. So they were able to do quite a bit of things to Nebraska's defense. Will Taylor, first one into work. Late, 1 minute. Sunday, late doesn't count on Sunday. But they were able to wear and grind and all of the old school, old head comments, right? Forward paddling, just driving downhill, you know, those kind of things. Like you saw any of their running backs, contact, leg drive, finish. Yes, you might bring me down, but it's 3 yards past where I was when you had contact. Things you can replicate, right? That's drilled into those running backs every day. Every day. You can do that. You can mirror that. Those linemen are taught to stay engaged. You may not get the linebacker. You may not get up to the second level, but that guy may also run himself out of the play. If you stay engaged and do not let the defensive lineman get off of the block, you're fine. Let the fast guy do fast guy things. Go back and watch Nebraska's game. It'll come up here on replay again. Watch how many tackles are made by the defensive lineman getting off of blocks. Nebraska's back is trying to be patient. It's trying. They go to hit the gas. The defensive lineman gets rid of the block, makes the play. Flip it around then. Watch Nebraska. Michigan running back being very patient, letting things develop, sitting behind it. Hits the hole. The first person to make contact with him is a linebacker or a safety, meaning the defensive linemen are all still occupied. They did not get off of the block. They did not do what they were supposed to do. Hesitation on crushes. Number one for Nebraska. Missed a couple opportunities for big plays because there was doubt in it. There was doubt that he was going to miss. You can see it when he went. Okay? Everything has been done correctly by everyone else. That play is there for you to make. You can see the game. Go watch number one. Linebacker takes up a block. Outside linebacker or 5-tech takes up a block. We've got it right. They're in this hole. I, from my safety spot, should be there already hitting it. And for whatever reason, hesitated. And hesitation will lead to 50-yard gains. Hesitation will lead to first downs. That safety, when they clear all that out, has to go up and be the dude. Has to go up and be the tackler. Has to go up and be the playmaker. Has to be the guy. Christian says, hope this game is looked at as an example of what level athletic abilities for our future. It's a good one to mirror, you know. As I told you many times, like the amount of people that are in other football programs that came to our practices, you'll never fully grasp it. What the summers were, how many coaches were in, that just that we knew about. There were coaches that come in that kind of didn't want anybody to know, but Gio, Uncle Milt, Charlie, everybody was DY, always open with information. Every form of sport is copycat. Every form of sport is something that you find something somebody does, you like how they do it, and then you do it. Because guess what? The reason people run things and are good at running things is because they can't stop them in practice. You will run what you are terrible at. It's a fact. You will do things that you are bad at to try to get better. That's the way it is. It's the way it will always go. Find bits and pieces of people's offenses that you like and use them. If you like the athleticism or the way that Michigan's offensive line looks, call their strength and conditioning coordinator. Nobody likes a tire pump better than a strength and conditioning coordinator. Nobody in America, anywhere. Hey, man, really like what you guys are doing. Look like I like how they look. Like, what are you doing? What's your training look like? Oh, brother, we do this and we do this. And we chopped down 6 trees yesterday with our bare hands. And, they're going to do that. Mirror, mimic things. Okay. Brett asked me. I'm going to go grab the whiteboard. Hold on. All right. So Brett asked about the Knutson kid out of Scotts Bluff. Here's my thing with the kid out of Scotts Bluff. Crap. Hey, right around the corner, there's a couple markers. The Knutson kid is a big human being. Okay. He's a very large man. In that, you're going to run up against smaller human beings that know they have no chance. They have no chance against you. All right. So what they're going to do is they're going to go at a lower angle. Everything they're doing is legal. As long as you stay above the knee, okay, you can attack somebody at thigh level. What happened to him is guys were getting low. He did not like it. Okay, he was not a fan of it. The other part of this is that nobody really did a good job of initiating. The 2 instances that you saw, I think in the first 1, 2, or 3 games. Okay, one incident was against North Platte. The other incident was a team against Colorado, team from Colorado. Okay, never ever in a million years should you snap, hold someone down, stomp on their leg. Can't happen. If any of you at home have never had someone annoy you and you've never snapped, you are a far better human being than I am. Okay? Far better human than I am. Because after a while of people annoying, I will snap. Okay? The kid snapped twice. It's a maturity thing. The school, and I'm not sure if the NSAA was involved, but the school disciplined him what they felt was accurate. It's a time served kind of thing. Does he play to the echo of the whistle? Yes. Do I condone stomping an opponent? No. Okay. Do not condone stomping on the opponent. But you have to keep yourself under control. You don't want to curtail someone's physicality, because what have we asked for a long time from any lineman in Nebraska? Can you just be nasty? Can you be a bad SOB? Can you be that guy? Can you do this? He's got that swag and cachet. Now, he is very raw. He needs a lot of technical help. Okay. As far as the antics go, not a huge fan of them. I understand them, but it's just a deal that you can't do those things in the game where you're intentionally going to harm a player. Okay. You have to keep those things under control. Like, you have to keep your head and your wits about you. And unfortunately for him, he didn't. But as far as aggression goes, I have no problem. He is a project, though, that in a couple years you could see huge, huge things out of. Hope that helps. It's, it's a kid doing dumb stuff. It's a kid doing dumb stuff. Okay. So the one I was telling you about before, if I just draw it up real quick. Okay. So this is what we were talking about, right? We've got pullers coming from this side. Maybe I should make the defense a different color. Get fancy. Okay. So this is what I was describing to you before. Okay, this was the one that I thought really, Nebraska played it well sometimes. They did not play it well at other times. So Corum here, doesn't matter. You can do it from either side. But you've got a double team block here that's end goal is to get to here. Okay, if it makes it there, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. All right. Got reflection on that thing. Got too many windows in this joint. There you go. Okay. This guy here will 100% make this play. Okay. As soon as this tackle tries to cross his face, if he just follows this down, okay. So he's got to follow that block down and try to keep this linebacker where he doesn't get hit. Okay. So if we're here now, instead of us waiting for the puller who's coming to hurt us, we go make that contact, right? Now you're going to take the back who's got this other body headed this way. If we collision this thing right here, okay? So now this big mass of humanity is going to have to do this, and then that back who's behind him is going to have to do that as well. Now you give everybody else a chance to rally to the ball. Okay, meaning you're just going to get as many bodies over there as you can. Unfortunately, what was happening to Nebraska, and I'm just going to move this guy out of the way just so I can, he's now over here. He's run to that point. Okay, unfortunately for Nebraska at times, this contact point was getting made here, and now this big old human can run right through there, and then Corum can just wait that out. Okay, so now you've got this linebacker in a bad spot. If he tries to beat this block over the top, he's got a tackle waiting for him. If he plays behind it, now he's in trouble. Okay, now the back can either go this way, because we've already kicked this guy out, or he can run back that way. So that play, they ran really well. They ran it really well all game. There were times Nebraska ran it well or defended it well, and then there were times that it didn't. And so that was rough. If they could have got that handled, that would have been, If you can take that play away from them, because they really like, now you're going to get a steady dose of it next week too. Because guess who else likes it? Wisconsin. Like, Wisconsin loves getting their big guys pulling inside zone stuff, outside zone stuff. Like, they really want to play that way. So you had a week of somebody that runs it really, really well. Okay. And now you've got another team coming up that does a lot of the same stuff. They do a lot of the same things. So you have to be ready for that. Okay. You've got live game looks at it. All right. You've got anything you want to see and then some. Okay. You now have a week of live practice with it. Should be better at it this week. Okay. So as we saw, I mean, if you watched any of the other game, Mertz throwing the ball, which I'm shocked to say, because when I watched him as a kid coming up through this, I really thought he was going to be a dude. Like, I really thought he was going to be somebody that was awesome. And he has not. He has regressed quite a bit. Now, when you get in this, you shut running game down, okay? You shut the running game down that Wisconsin has, and you make them throw, you have an advantage, because I still think Nebraska's secondary is rounding into form, and it's a strength for them now. Okay? You can do that. Make them throw it. One of the touchdowns in the game for Iowa was just it was a little thin route, little niff route. Outside or safety jumped it, picked it off. Ball shouldn't have been thrown. It was thrown directly to the Iowa defender. House call, touchdown. But Iowa was able to take away their run. Nebraska, I think if you play, the offense needs to help them out. I mean, for being 100% square. Nebraska's offense has to help Nebraska's defense out, because they have got to get off of the field. They cannot give up conversions on third down. They have to get off the field. I'm just going to check and see what. See, first time in a long time, right? Michigan was 4 of 10 on third down. Michigan, unfortunately, was 2 of 2 on fourth down. When you have that downhill style of football, you have that luxury. You can go 4th down and 2, like, yeah, no problem. We got this. But Nebraska's defense has to get off the field against Wisconsin and give yourself a chance to get in that rhythm. Give yourself a chance to get frothed up. Make sure you're going, and that's your key to success in that game. Getting off the field. Now, you've got to find ways offensively. You got to find ways offensively to give Wisconsin's aggressive style a fit, okay? If that's play action pass, if that's screen passes. If they figure out they can get pressure with 3 or 4 people, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a real long day. But if you make them start to commit 5 and 6 people to get pressure or stop your running game, now you're in good shape. Now you have everything you need. You're going to make them commit to more than they want to. I am not as impressed with with Wisconsin's secondary. So you have opportunities, be that 7, Washington, or 4, Jelante Brown or Trey Palmer. Vokalek is still somebody I feel you have to be worked into the equation as far as the passing game goes. But jumped off sides in the game. I mean, it's just, those are the tough things to overcome. You can get all this done. You really can. You can accomplish it, but that's what you have to do in the game. And then the other thing offensively is Linemen got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. Linemen got to be. It's the other way around, Chris. You have it backwards. You have to, just for 2 games, got to be balls to the wall. Got to take on a challenge. Got to accept it. Got to win. Win the line of scrimmage. You were doing it for quite a while against a better team, than you would shoot yourself in the foot, right? Steel toe boots back in full effect. It's where they're at and what they have to get done. It's all still under your control. It'll be a small flickering light, but end the season with 2 wins. End the season with 2 wins if you can, and give us a chance just to be happy about something. Give yourself a chance to be happy. You'll get some clout and some cachet if you know. Ugh. It's you get a finite set of times to play the game. You get it's not a vast amount. It's not big. And you have to take advantage of all of those. Your window now is down to 2. There should be nothing left when you get done. You should feel gutted with both of them. Good statement here from John. John says, Sue stomped a guy in a game. He was a professional. I think most Nebraska fans still like him. That's true. That's a good point. They did not. Everybody's got a breaking point. And everybody too has a person in your life that will push you to that breaking point. You know who they are, and they know who they are in your life. They will come around. They will pick at you until you snap. I've done it. Verge, you calling any games for the state championships? Yep, I have I'm calling games on the 21st. I have D2, which is oh shoot, I got to go way out west. Gosh dang it. Now I'm going to have to look it up. Because I'll go out and watch practice. Just because I think it's fun to see how other people do it. So I got to run out. Okay. D2, I have Hitchcock County and Howells Dodge. So I'll go up to watch all those gentlemen practice. Hitchcock County is a hot minute away from here, 4 hours, 45 minutes. We're doing it, though. And then D1, I've got Neely, Oakdale, and Clarkson Lee. And then I get the rematch. I get Omaha High School versus Gretna. Omaha West Side High School versus Gretna in the rematch, as the Warriors eliminated my Islanders, who did not have a good day. Yeah, so anybody out in Hitchcock County, I'll be heading your way. I got to get a hold of their coach, see what days they're practicing. But yeah, it's a fun thing. I like to buzz around. Bramer kid out of Pierce, got to see him last year. Really impressed with what Coach Frenzen at Lakeview did. Got to go, of course, see Coach Mraz out at Fremont Bergen, and got to see Waller up at Norfolk Catholic. Beller, sorry. But yeah, it was fun. That A game's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. They're all going to be fun. But I will, though, Howells Dodge, Clarkson Lee, all those up by my grandma. Swing back up to the northeast, up in God's country for a little bit. I didn't realize how far Neely Oakdale was. Didn't know that one. It's a couple hours. Get some windshield time. Stop and see the good folks in the cafes of the great state of Nebraska. Ken says Ver's not one player at NU is sick and tired of losing. If so, they would perform better. They would start winning. These guys just want their Adidas swag and the season over again. That man, I don't know. I that's a tough one for me, Ken, because you look. There's some guys out there I will argue with you that that's not true. Then there's some that I'll argue like, it might be true. And you hate to think that, and you hate to say it, because like if I'm around it every day, and I'm in the practices, and you see the meetings and all that stuff, like, and like, oh yeah, that's totally what it is. There's still, probably things that need to be cleaned out. Whomever the coach is going to have to do that. Going to have to make sure that happens. Mike says, do we see Harburg in these last two games? Man, Mike, I've been asking this for a couple weeks. It's like kid's a freak athletically, right? Got the height, got the gun, assuming he's put on some weight. I don't know why you haven't. I do know why you haven't. It's just I don't want to admit it. That the guy that's quarterback coach is just worried about his guy. And that's not kosher. I don't know why you wouldn't put him in. He can't be that far behind. I would throw a plethora of people at this. If Chubba's happy or healthy, go there. Like I said, I'm excited if Logan has a full week of reps. But then if Logan goes down, Harburg's your next guy. So maybe wanted to have snuck him in that game just to see. Or maybe he wasn't on the trip. I don't know. But yeah, he's going to have to play because it's a physical game. And you're going to have to use Logan's talents to the best ability, which is him running the ball. He's got to be a viable threat to run it. He's got to get out and do those things. I just know no updates on anything, and I get with the chaos of what's been going on. Yeah, I agree, Mike. He could come in and cause problems. He could come in and be a changeup that is actually a threat both ways. Yeah, I mean, you got to see him. If I had anybody in these last two games that I thought I needed to really evaluate, they would be playing in this because I need to know what my roster is. If I'm Mickey, I have to view this as if I'm the coach. Okay, I'm the coach. What do I need next out of my team? What do I need to see? What do I have to have? How can I do this as efficiently as possible? But I got to get some bodies in there, and I got to get some dudes. I'd love to see it. John says, why do you always look sideways at Cam? You were talking about people in your life that take. Cam's pretty chill. Cam doesn't really take me to the breaking point. Freddie got to get his shot in at Damon. As a certain milk and honey coach, scrub Gretna's roster pregame instead of postgame. They're there's a lot going on. I wouldn't expect Trev to make an announcement as far as coach goes until I'd say after the Iowa game. I don't think he can wait it out. I hope he doesn't try to wait it out till after bowl season. because I think that's far too long. If you can make that announcement, after the Iowa game, I think your off season takes a completely different trajectory, because I think there's still more people that are involved up there now that are going to get fired, and I think rightfully so, because what's gone on for them has not. The group they're in charge of, which is the entire team, has not done what it's supposed to do. Then in turn should lead you to not having a job. But yeah, I think there's more to come. I said I have no inside information. I have nothing. Huh. Yeah, yes, I did see Alante Brown get hit in his special purpose. That didn't understand that. Didn't know where that one was headed. Like usually you get the hurdle, you guys going to go low, and then you kind of have some open ground behind you. Then if you can hit the ground and keep running, you're really going to go. There's another dude waiting to hit him. Probably lucky that didn't. Yeah, that did not look good. That did not look like it wanted to be anything. A heads up, also, Tommy Frazier and I have started a podcast. It is called 5115. It is called 5115, and we will be doing our second live podcast out at the Hale Varsity Club, which is out by
Cabela's off the Giles exit.
Yep, out there in Papillon. Come on down. Tommy is all about if anybody didn't like his statements early on, he wants you to come out and discuss with him now. Not that he remembers, or he wrote down all your names, or no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it was pretty fun. We did one before. I had some folks out. It's good interaction. Tommy and I will get up there for about an hour to do our thing, shoot the breeze, and then you guys can ask questions and be on the podcast. So we got microphones set up. If you want to know anything, directions you would go, it will be the week before the Iowa game. So Cam is also an Iowa guy.
Yeah.
Cam's got a lot of teams.
I'm all over the place. But yeah, that's Tuesday, November 22nd. So next Tuesday.
Yep. Next Tuesday. Is that next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Tuesdays.
Well,
next Tuesday would be 2 days from now.
Oh, next Tuesday is in the one that's not coming up
2
Tuesdays
days
from now. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where we will be. I'll be honest. Just start firing me some questions, because I really got nothing. It's the beauty of doing this. You just kind of wrap it up when you want to wrap it up. Nebraska and what they need to get done is it's all in-house. If you want Mickey to be your coach, you got to win the next two. If you don't want him to be your coach, then kind of do that. I am maybe a little sidebar or an interesting thing that could happen. Mac Mill in for work, came in early. Not supposed to be here till 10. Yeah. I usually don't peter out like this at the end of the year. But we are literally into everything is the same. Everything has to happen. Like if I'm a senior, I guess, in there, I'm just telling everybody, like, listen, man, we're going down swinging. We are going down swinging. We have to. If we do nothing more than win these last 2 games, that's good enough. And get that done, that would be huge, huge accomplishment. Man. Still, I struggle at times just because this is where it is. this is where we have come. It's mind blowing to me. An organization that used to run like a top, and how poorly it's been run for decades. Just can't, yeah. There's days, I'll be honest, there's days I can't handle it. There's days I just about lose my mind. Thankfully, I've got enough other chaos in my life that I don't have to sit and think about it. I mean, if I did this, like if I was full-time podcast guy or media guy, you'd see me snap. I would have snapped a while ago. I would have snapped to the point where they would not allow me down there if I was like a media guy full time. That's legit. Like that's legit. Christian, we talked about Houseman. I thought he made the biggest strides of anybody. He was still out of position on some, but the majority where he was in the position to hit and play the game, he was way good. Way good. If he can evolve like that over these next 2 weeks where you're going to stay in the same physical game. He was one of the few guys when he got a shot at a running back. There's 2 examples that came into my head right away. His explosion through his hips, the running back went backwards. And that didn't happen a lot for us in that game. Caleb, who's probably right, unfortunately. If he wins next year, I don't see Mickey being the head coach. Yeah. There's a lot of people in that camp. Some guys have it. Mickey has it. Will whomever they hire work or not work? I'm not basing it on anything. I'm not basing it on anything. That they can have success. I'm Team Mickey. I'll support whoever they get, but I would love to see that. I'd love to see that happen. Thank you for your dose of realism. Mick said they have both playbooks available, new and old. Any chance Whipple knows that? Larry. Larry. Just any playbook that gets positive yards and can convert a third down. Whatever book converts the most third downs, that's one, is it? Man. Days where that haunts me. John says that Hendrick did not travel. Purdy Smothers Masker Cynic. All for Mickey getting the job. Kellyanne asks which groups have progressed and which have regressed. Progressed, I would probably say the secondary, because in early in the year there were some miscommunication, some things didn't look super smooth. They don't always look super smooth now, but I think that's a little bit more where they're at. I think you've had a lot just stayed the same. You had questions about the offensive line from the beginning of the year. You still have questions about the offensive line. Question about the linebacking play. Still have question about the linebacking play. Outside of one game with Houseman being really good. Question about the defensive line. Defensive line stayed pretty much the same. Quarterback play due to injury would be a regression. Hope Casey Thompson gets healthier. Anybody got any injury update on that? I haven't heard much. Running backs, when you give Anthony Grant holes, you give them the opportunity to do things. He's a special running back. In that, I can't tell if he's had the chance to progress. Caleb, I'm pretty sure that the 65-year-old is done after this year. And that's in his contract, that it's over. Fred says, after watching the Michigan game, it feels like this rebuild got a lot bigger job than I thought. Might be an overreaction, but man, it looks bad right now. Here's the thing. Here's the thing with Michigan. Okay. And it took Harbaugh a long time to get his guys to believe into it and fall in line, right? So what they did is he just grinds concept, belief, philosophy, like, right? They've got to believe in what they're doing. So the concepts, we're going to drill these over and over and over and over and over and over again. Awesome part about some of the things they do, their inside zone, their outside zone, they're I think people now call it gap instead of pin pull, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Those concepts that they run, right? They're so ingrained into the player, it's just muscle memory. There's no second thought about it. That's why the comment about both playbooks made me nervous. I'm like, well, we just need one very simple playbook. But your inside zone, your outside zone concepts, you can run infinity number of different plays called those whatever you want with those schemes. The scheme is the same for the lineman forever. The beauty of it is then when a defensive lineman moves somewhere or he slants or they line up a little different than you thought, it does not matter because that play has a very simple rule. That rule involves two people. Two people both know the rules. Now, no matter where the defense lines up, it's irrelevant. It has no bearing. You can line up in an 8-3 front. You can line up in a 1-8 or 1-11 or 1-10 front. You can however you want to go, that scheme will work. And those plays, now they might not get 50-yard gains, but they'll get you 4. Now, you have a running back that understands the concept of the play. I'm going to start this way. I'm going to watch somebody on the backside. If that guy goes the wrong way, then I'm going back where he should be. It's like when passing games are very efficient. You want to blitz me on a passing down, I'm going to throw the ball to the receiver that your blitzer has vacated, as Michigan did to Nebraska in the game. Those, like, the beauty is in the simplicity. It seems like it's so complex and it's all this and it's all that. It's not. And this is the stuff that they run at the next level. At the next level, to get real high level and jargony, they will base a play off somebody on the backside instead of somebody on the front side. It's just getting your rules laid out. I hope we have one playbook. I pray to God we have one playbook. Because if we don't, we got a whole bunch of other stuff to worry about. we have literally mass chaos. 6 to 8 plays, work them against everything. Get your guys as confident as you can that they can run they can run those plays against anything in the world. They can do it. And then let them do it. Keep it simple. You can change formations. Every time you change formation, the defense has to view it as a new play. For you, it's the same play. Change formation, change motion. Now we're going to motion out of it. Defense got to adjust the motion. We're still running the exact same blocking scheme plays, just with different names. We can run these against anyone, anywhere, at any time. There is no thinking. Now I'm just going to go out and be athletic, get this done. Go out and win these two. That's it. We're going to get out of here on this last one from Mike. The quick turn for this program can be done. It is not a sustainable solution. We need someone that can focus on long-term build. The quick fix has to get the ball rolling, then follow dovetail to a program that is sustainable. Okay, Mike, so I'm going to ask you, help me on that then. So are you looking for somebody right now to jumpstart it, then bring in your guy to finish it off? Or what do you? Because as we've seen, right? As we've seen, you can become relevant in your conference quickly. Okay? You can become relevant. Kansas has brought itself to relevance in a couple years. Right? In a couple years, they've done a good job of being in the mix. It's really a statement to the power of the mind and belief in what you're doing is 100% correct and will work. So you get those things going, set realistic expectations of it. A coach can do both. Okay. A coach that can do both. All right. So what we're looking at then, is getting, and hopefully everybody gets a giggle out of this, getting to mediocrity. Okay. Getting to 500 was my goal for this year. Evidently, I could be the AD because that was Trev's goal for Scott. Get to 500. Okay, now once we're to 500, our next 3 years, we should main goal number one, do not regress. Okay? 7-5, 8-4, 9-3. That should be where we're at. Like that should be year 2, 3, 4. Okay, now you get to year 4 and you want to sustain. Sustain the 9. The 9 does not regress. Such a crazy concept to say because we had somebody doing this, then we fired them because they were a meanie. You're mean. You say mean words and you have spittle. You flick your hat at everybody. All right. That's your plan. That's your goal. In my world. Whomever can build you to that, let them build. If it bring Urban in as the mercenary for your first 3 years, go ahead. You tell him, hey, you better have somebody there ready to go for me. But you have to do it. If you can find a guy that can do both of those, 100%. 100%. But that's how I do it. Maureen's in. Trev, Maureen, just email Trev. Tell him we solved this all. Husker Hangover, Hurrdat Sports Network. We got it solved on Sunday morning. We'd like a 10% finder's fee to split amongst ourselves. Share that with the folks. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We will be on to Wisconsin next week. Don't forget, in 2 Tuesdays, Tommy Frazier and I will be out at the Hale Varsity Club. If you want to come out and hang out with us for a little bit, we'll do an hour podcast recording. You can ask any questions you want. Tommy will have very candid answers. If you've ever taken a pot shot at Tommy when the prior regime was hired and that did not work out, he remembers. So, yeah, just come up to the mic, tell him what you think. He'll be more than happy to answer your questions. I don't know what my friends hate me. I send the link out every morning for them to come on. Some may be hungover, too hungover. Some are fake going to church. They're liars. Thank you guys. As always, have a blast. Getting the chance to talk to you. Have a fantastic Sunday, and we will see you guys next week. Matt Vrzal, Cam Broham, Husker Hangover. We gone.